Thank you a lot to all of you joining today's session, as always hosted by the Open Telekom Cloud Community webinar. Today we have a very handsome guest you may already have saw a few times in the past together with us, Daniel Schellhase. He's our Chief Product Manager and he has brought today the topic which you see here on the slide, a wrap up of our last year 2025 and the roadmap insights into 2026. With this, I would like to hand over to Daniel. Thank you a lot one more time for having you here, and let's have a great webinar together.
Thank you, Stefan, for giving us the opportunity to wrap up a little bit what happened 2025 and what still is ongoing right now. I brought a lot of topics, and even we will look into the roadmap 2026. So we will touch a lot of topics. So I'm quite sure if you have questions, we cannot answer everything, but I already saw my team, which has even prepared the content here, is even joining the chat. So if you have questions, please always feel free to ask them. If we can answer today, of course, as mentioned by Stefan, we will answer later. And today, everything is around functionalities and features. So what we will do now within the next hour is we will talk about features, functions, releases, end of lives. That's what we do. And just as a wrap up, of course, we have a highly motivated team to even get more features in. So if you look here into the analysts, they basically put us in a very, very good position as a leading European cloud. And everything we talk now is only related to feature, to make our product better, to make our offering better. So that's what we will discuss today. So some of you might know that we are really keen to certify these clouds to fulfill all the regulations which are coming up on us. And what I would like to emphasize, some of you might be interested, is we provide special conditions for customers which, for example, underlie the DORA, or which are inside the DORA sector, so financial institutes, which we have released this year. So we have updated it. Then we have done the ENS certification, especially for the Spanish market. And right now, still ongoing, is the BSI IT Grundschutz, which we applied to and which is right now executed. So we expect that the certificate will be available in the second quarter, because right now we are executing this one. So this is basically the new ones which we brought into our portfolio. And as well, some of you have maybe already recognized the EU Data Act came in place 12th of September last year. So even here you will find, of course, inside our service description on the website, you find information related to switching a cloud provider, which basically refers to the EU Data Act. Then I would like to just start with a short legal disclaimer, of course. Everything which I will present now in terms of roadmap, of course, underlies deviations. So because the team is working on it, so we might need to figure out, or we will figure out on the way, that we maybe have some bugs which we have to fix, that we need to basically resolve some security issues, for example, when the features and functions are developed. So basically, nothing goes into the cloud before we have checked this in terms of reliability, security, and compliance. That's basically the situation. So we will see deviations from what I will present today. So please never plan this something which I will present here today. Okay, because it's always like the service description, and what we put up here and what we put there is what we can provide to you. So therefore, please always consider this. This is basically the legal term, and even it could be that I made a mistake. So please, even I can guarantee correctness right now here. So, but basically, let's start with compute. So in compute, you might have seen now, and I hope you have seen this, because we have done two very important items this year. We have brought to you the X1 flavor, which are based on the Intel Generation 1 generation, which we bought, which gives you a good price performance ratio, which is really a good flavor, which is for flexible purpose, which is only as a pay-per-use flavor available. And we released now, and this is basically our new flagship models, the Intel Granite Rapid generation from Intel, which we call M9 C9, which is right now available, and shortly to come is the S9 flavor. And we have included here 3 years reserve packages. So please make use of the 9th generation flavor. In addition, we are working hard, or my team is working hard, in order to bring even the X1M flavor, so 1:8 ratio flavor, and for the generation 4, even X2 flavor in different kind of flavor configurations, so that we put more and more of these flexible purpose flavors in place. Please always make use of them. That's what I would like to mention here. Then from the GPU portfolio perspective, what we have done, we have released the G7V, so the virtual flavor for the A40, basically cutting the A40 cards into pieces so that you don't need to get one and you have a much more, let's say, cost-efficient solution for using A40 capabilities. Then we released last year the H100 as PCI version, and coming soon is the H100 with NVLink in a dual setup, so that, for example, two H100 can very good one in parallel and have a good data stream between them. That's something which will be released in short. We can shortly look into that one. So we expect that this will maybe be done, I think, end of February, if I remember correctly. What Chris mentioned is, I think, end of February, we might release the H100. As already mentioned, C9, M9 already released. We provided VTPM support. The S9 flavor is, of course, the most anticipated flavor, which will come in place very, very soon. Then we will have a 9th generation i9 with local disks embedded. We are working on confidential computing flavor. C9T is the name. Then we will have HSS integration, so host security service integration into the console when you create a compute flavor. That's even something. And as mentioned in Q2, even a highlight is, I think, the Flexi flavor with optimized 1:8 ratio. So that's what we provide. Of course, hyper-threading is something which we received questions, and we will work on even all the other functionalities listed here. Then we come to containers shortly. In the container environment, we even, of course, work on supporting the latest flavors. So we support for the L4 cards, for the H100 cards, the Flexi flavor, the new 9th generation, and of course, moving forward, even releasing all the other flavors. We will even support in our CCE environment, so in our container environment, even all the flavors moving forward. One item, of course, which I hope everyone is aware and was aware, is the common I/O end of life for the Elastic Volume Service, which is now end of life since 1st of January. If you have not moved out, once again, please migrate, but we come to that in a second, even when we touch the storage topics. In CCE, we have released new versions, and we are keen to even release more versions, of course, and even accelerate this, but I will come to that in a second. And we put CCE Turbo General available, which has an improved performance because of the network capabilities, which is integrated into that one. It provides improved performance and flexibility. So I would like to recommend to look into that one, because that might be a good option. Then here you can see what we have, what we are planning this year. So we are planning, of course, new Kubernetes releases, 1.3.3, 1.3.4, 1.3.5, 1.3.6. That's something, of course, it's always, if it goes up to end of the year, it always a little bit fuzzy, right? Because it depends on where exactly it's positioned. Can we achieve it end of the year, beginning of the next year? But basically what we even work on is to accelerate our release cycles, because we'll listen to all the feedback which we gain from you. And of course, we are keen to even work here in order to optimize and improve our release cycles here to get for you the versions much more early. That's something which we are heavily working on right now, but this is right now something which we can promise to you that we will release these versions. Then we right now work on general purpose file systems. Some of you are using still the old versions, the SFS Common I/O. And of course, we are right now working on providing you GPFS, general purpose file system, because it's a successor, which we have put general available. That's something which the team is now focusing on, that you have the successor product available. And of course, still continue supporting the 9th generation ECS. For Cilium support is even planned end of Q2, beginning of Q3. Then we work on something which you might be interested in, we call Autopilot, which is able to scale your CCE environment. That's something which we will see, I think, rather end of the year. Then CCI, Cloud Container Instance, so serverless container, is something where we will update and go into a GA stage. Right now, you can, of course, use the beta version and get access to that, play around with that one, but we are planning a larger version update in order to put it then general available. Then for the SWR service, we plan geo-redundant functionality, and I think you will see this now moving forward, that we provide more and more geo-redundancy in our services. For ASM, version update is to upgrade. And a new service, UCS, which provides you multi-cloud capabilities for container, is even something which is on the way, which we expect to release to you in Q2 if there's nothing happening on the way. Then let's come to storage. So in storage, I would like to start first with the Elastic Volume Service and give you more insights about what is happening, what we are doing. You see here right now the positioning more or less of all the different disk types which we have. And of course, Common IO is now end of life since beginning of this year. So of course, if you're not out, you have seen that we have not just closed it, shut it down, so your environment is still running, so we are not doing this. So of course, we are reviewing that situation, but we want to mention you don't get support even for ECS, which are connected to Common IO EVS. So please go out, migrate if you have not done, because this is end of life. Then I would like to highlight that our intention is to move the ultra high I/O more up, because you see there is a little difference between GP SSD and ultra I/O, and our intention is to go up with the ultra high I/O. One of the prerequisites was that we provide the disk type change functionality, which we have released. I come to that in a second. So basically, to have a staircase approach where you can put the disks in a staircase approach, how you need performance, right? And here's one highlight which we will even bring. We will bring a disk which you already see on the service description, which we have pre-announced, GP SSD version 2. I think I talked to the team yesterday. It might be released end of next month. So end of February, you can expect maybe beginning of March. So we are heavily working on that one. That has highest priority. Because with that disk, you can even then customize your bandwidth and your IOPS. So that's something. So even if you have, I call it always border requirements. So you don't want to have a disk which increase in both parameters, then you can select which kind of performance you need and can just get this. That's something which you bring in next month, hopefully. Then I already mentioned we have released the disk type change functionality, which basically is the basis to give you a convenient functionality to move out of all the different disks and all the new disks which are coming up. And we will even deliver this functionality for, of course, RDS services, because we have in a Common IO, but we will come to that a little bit later. So that's even something which you can see, that you have now a convenient feature to move out of the different disk types. And of course, here you can see which migration path is basically supported. So basically moving out of Common IO to the other disk types. If you look into high IO, of course, moving out of high IO into then the upper level SSD types. And in the future, maybe 2 years from now, you will see that we will have only SSD types. So high IO is something which, of course, we have now in the portfolio, but you have already seen the GP SSD version 2 has nearly the same specifications, will have nearly the same pricing. You can already see it in the service description. So we are already preparing this in terms of positioning of the new GP SSD version 2, which even gives you possibility to upgrade to these border cases in terms of performance. Then what we have done, of course, you have figured out the SFS Turbo HPC had been released, and very new, we put general purpose file system general available, which is basically a replacement for our SFS Common IO. And of course, we will keep SFS Common IO until CCE, the Cloud Container Engine, supports general purpose file systems. So we even received a lot of feedback related to that one. So of course, we will keep it up and running until you get conveniently access to the GPFS. That's for sure. That's what we would like to ensure for you. So you see here a little bit of the data, the basic difference between general purpose file system and SFS Turbo flavors is that this is a different kind of type. So we have here cost efficient storage, which provides 3AZ availability or durability, and is designed in that way that it's set up in 3 availability zones. There's no backup feature available. Encryption is right now on the way. So we are working on this very hard to get encryption out. So I hope even you will see within the next months, maybe next 1.5 months, that encryption is released. So we will, of course, provide a release note for that one. And then, of course, we will move on to give you the CTS integration for logging, monitoring functionality, and so on. There is no minimal consumption. And we know that we are looking forward to have this kind of file storage available. So and that's why we have brought this up. It has a complete pay-per-use model. From a redundancy point of view, I already said 3AZ redundancy using erasure coding. So if there would be an outage in any availability zone, I've not seen this so far. Basically, this is protected against a 1AZ outage, just to give you that kind of information. Then for our backup services, we have brought for this cloud backup and recovery service Vault auto scaling. That's a Vault can conveniently scale with your size requirements. You can use it, you cannot use it however you like. And we have brought backup locking. Backup locking, of course, protects your backups from basically any kind of deletion. So only the policy is able to then delete your backups which are inside your Vault. Then here's once again a comprehensive comparison because we have put cloud server backup service, volume backup service, end of life. There's no need to stick to these two services. Please, if you still use these two services, please move out of these services because cloud backup and recovery has all the great functionalities, right? It has auto scaling. You have the most comprehensive functionality in terms of configuration of your backup policy. It has the most comprehensive feature set when it comes to backup operations. You have fine-grained policies available that you configure granularly, who has access to what, can do what. We have monitoring, alarming, geo-redundancy available, so cross-region replication. We have backup locking available. So please move out. There is no reason to stay into that one. And please keep in mind, we even increase the pricing. So this is end of life already since so we targeted to have an end of life beginning of August. We figured out, somehow no one really migrated. So we said we need to go out somehow. And that's the reason why we delayed the end of life until end of the year. So it's until beginning of this year. And since beginning of November, we increased the pricing. So I really would like to ask, if you're still on the service, please move out, so that we can really close and shut down these services. There's no reason to stick on it. CBR has most advanced feature set as shown. So here's the roadmap. So we are working right now on the recycle bin functionality for EVS. We are working on the GPSSD version 2, our most important enhancements. You've seen a lot of changes throughout the last year in terms of portfolio. All these changes, the disk types will even go into the NL region. That's something which we even work on. Ultra high I already mentioned, we try to position it much more higher. It will get much more performance, so you don't see this large gap. We even work on a new Extreme SSD version 2 with more performance, even more performance. And you see here that we work on a functionality end of the year. We hope we can bring it end of the year cross AZ replication, that EVS disk can even work cross AZ redundant. Then on the OBS side, CS, so cloud monitoring functionality in UNL is something we are working on. We will have a new cloud replication, cross-region replication. Of course, right now we even work on re-enabling it, get this on the new lines. That's even something which we're working, but we will even enhance this functionality. End of the year, we hope that we can release intelligent tiering, that you can even use these functionality to shift to different storage classes based on how the data is used. That's even something which we are working on. On SFS, we will see a lot of enhancements. So for example, we are working hard to get SMB functionality in place for SFS Turbo, HPC, as well as GPFS. Of course, for GPFS, I already mentioned the encryption functionality, but even tagging, of course, monitoring, logging is something we are working on this one. And then SFS Turbo HPC, we are working on a type where you can configure your performance requirements, because FSS Turbo HPC can even be used for AI workloads. And so we are focusing and preparing for that one, and even try to release the SFS Turbo HPC even in the L region. And finally, you see more and more, I already mentioned, cross-region functionality redundant, even gets this inside the SFS Turbo. Then on CBR, we will enhance this cross-region replication functionality, and for the SDS service, we will see, and I hope we can release it even end of the year, a new functionality called, or service called Business Recovery Service, with more disaster recovery functionalities, and even, of course, what we work on, but you will not see end of the year. We will then even go into that direction, that we even get into a cross-region replication, that you use the service even for cross-region disaster recovery. Let's go into network. I have to speed up a little bit. We provided to you DNSSEC functionality, was highly requested. We have for the ELB an elastic flavor, which basically scales with your needs. Then we have the classic VPN end of life. We have the private NAT gateway release. That's what we have done. When it comes to network, we are working on I already mentioned we are working on connecting the regions. That's something. So therefore, we are working hard right now on a service Cloud Connect, which provides you a possibility to connect your VPCs across different kind of regions. For direct connect, auto line switching on dedicated lines, we will have a lower bandwidth variant, more cost efficient, because we received requests from you in order that you would like to use this. Then for the ELB, we're working on a new version 3 shared flavor. For the enterprise router, the CS integration and IPv6 support. IPv6 is something we work across our portfolio. And of course, we are working hard on an enterprise switch, which is highly requested from a lot of customers for and even from you to get layer 2 migrations done. Then on VPC ACL security groups, VPC EP3.0, a new functionality, flow logs to support LTS, so that you can use LTS in combination with the flow logs functionality, traffic mirroring. Then on the VPN, we work on the enterprise VPN that it's available in UNL as well, and even the IPv6 support, fine-grained policies we're working on, and integration into the EAM critical operations, because you might be aware in EAM we have a functionality called critical operations, which allows you to get 4ICE principle in place in order to, for example, if you delete, for example, an ECS or something, that, for example, another administrator has to approve it, or even that you approve it with your mobile phone, right? That's something, or multi-factor approval. That's this functionality. Then in database, let's come shortly to database. Right now, I would like to give an update on the Common I/O. For EVS Common I/O for database has a different kind of plan for the end of life. So I would like to say sorry if maybe our communication was not clear enough. So right now, what we do is, and I explained in EVS, we have a storage type change functionality. We will move this into the RDS functionality as well. So that's expected to be available mid of Q2, so that you can move out of Common I/O and into the other disk types. Then we target to release even here in the RDS, the GPSSD version 2, which will be the lowest end disk type, and of course gives you even the possibility to increase on demand and customize your requirements on demand. Nevertheless, this is the most essential pieces to get Common I/O out, because we listen to your feedback, and that's the reason why we said, okay, first this two, then end of life. So we will announce and make an announcement of an end of life for the 1st of October. But of course, is highly dependent, the end of life, on these two releases, that you have conveniently time to then move out and migrate, for example, to GPSSD version 2 for your Common I/O workload. So that's what I would like to mention here. Then, of course, we are enhancing here as well, bringing new versions, MySQL 8.4, PostgreSQL 18 for the RDS, and a lot of other functionality, which you can see, a MySQL auto-scaling functionality for DDS, support dedicated instance classes, replica sets to support 5 or 7 nodes, have a database search, for example. On the data replication search application service, we are working on even new migrations. And something which might be of interest for you, of course, we are working on a Gemini DB, which is even compatible to DynamoDB databases, and an Influx, a time series database. We get more and more requests on that one, which will be called InfluxDB, is even on the way right now, which we expect to be released end of Q2, beginning of Q3. The team is already working on this one, so that's our expectation right now. Then for the Taos, we even a lot of functionalities, even the serverless version we are working on. So even here for the Taos MySQL, it's basically a large scaling MySQL database, more scaling than the RDS. So this is basically a good option if you have a large environment and you need a large MySQL database. That's basically the option. That's even something which we work on and even continue releasing new functionalities. Let's now jump into the security services. And here as well, I would like to highlight that we will improve and work on our host security service, because this is something where we especially work on our APIs. So more than 51 plus new APIs will be released with the version 25.10. We will support more operating systems. We know that we have here quite some limitations and not really supporting everything which you might demand and need. So we will even provide more OSs for you support, and of course new functionalities which come up. That's what we work on. Then a new service will come up, which is called Enterprise Project Service. Short name is EPS, which enables you can see here right now, you can organize yourself inside the EM using projects. And with EPS, you can basically use your projects across regions. So here as well, I hope that this is somehow clear to you, that we deliver and work on a lot of functionalities which gives you cross-region capabilities. That's something which we will provide to you moving forward, independent of the products and services, and you will see this more and more coming up. That we try to connect and give you more convenience features for geo-redundancy, because most of you need to somehow use these functionalities. Maybe your underlying cryptos, so you need to make the check mark for example, geo-redundancy. So we will give you these kind of functionalities in a more convenient way. Then I would like to mention that we even redesigned our web application firewall portfolio. So we have released the Cloud WAF to you, which is basically which gives load balancer access and is basically for the standard requirements ZWAF. And then we have the dedicated WAF, which is basically for edge cases where you just need more performance. And that's so the classic WAF is not the way forward. So we will go into the CWAF and the dedicated WAF, and then you need to decide, depending on your requirements, which WAF you need to use. Then here you see the roadmap. So for the anti-DDoS, integrated into LTS config fine-grained policies, get more better integration into our ecosystem. We will see 2 version upgrades. For the cloud firewall, we will even release this in UNL. New version updates, you will see even IPv6 support. I already explained that IPv6 support we are working on across all our portfolio. Then the database security service, new versions coming up. We will even improve our API and Terraform support. So moving forward, you will see multiple releases for API and Terraform, where we bring you more functionalities, because we know that everyone is working with you with the API, use automation. Of course, we need to make it available for you so that you can conveniently use the database security service. So we have it on our roadmap, and you will see moving forward that we will bring these functionalities. Then the enterprise project service, EPS, even something which we target to release in this quarter. Then HSS, as already mentioned, 25 we discussed, planned for Q2. And even here, we even try to improve the API deliver and support of more operating system. That's something which we'll constantly work on and provide for you. EM, you will see multiple releases this year, KMS as well, even key rotation of imported keys is something we work on. You will see potentially end of the year. Then Cloud Secret Management Service, a release potentially Q2, I would like to say. That's a potential where we can provide this service to you. Then for the WAF, you see here CWAF and UD going GA. We are even already released it in UNL. We have the WAF in 25.x and 26 on the roadmap. And a security dashboard, which we really is highly anticipated, where you can, for example, get more overview about your security configuration inside your cloud environment. That's something which we even work on right now. The name, we will need to figure out the naming. So we call it right now internally security dashboard. Once we move forward, of course, it might have a different kind of name. But that's something which you really work on in order to give you more accessibility to all your security configurations and dashboard for that one. Then let's move on with PaaS and management services. So here in the PaaS and management services, we work on AOM 2.0, a new version which supports latest generation of CCE environments, TMS integration, API gateway, to have config integration, release the API gateway even in UNL. Then we are even working on a serverless variant of our API gateway. You know, we right now support this in terms of pricing, but the serverless functionality we are working on in order to give you these serverless functionalities. Cloud Trace Service, verified trace file integrity for the DCS service, config integration, Redis 7 GA is on. We are planning for the DMS, support of GP SSD and eSSD, the Extreme SSD. The Rocket MQ is something we work on, will be released end of Q2, beginning of Q3 roughly. And even serverless messaging we are working on. Right now, we cannot foresee. Once we can give it to you, I expect beginning of 2027 right now. So LTS will have better integration into APS and config for function graph, UNL, and Java integration to APM. Other functionalities, and we continuously work on function graph functionalities because we see more and more requests coming in. So even here we are working on to get this in a very good shape for you. Cloud as Service, even a lot of functionalities are on our roadmap, so API version 3, more API releases. So even that's something which you see here across our past portfolios. You see that we listen here that you're using the APIs, and we need to give you the complete capabilities here. So across our portfolio, CS config, tag management service, to give you better functionalities and integration to APIs and even into Terraform. For the Cloud as Service, a lot of upgrades are even planned. So fine-grained policies, we are planning version upgrades, a task center, better alarm notifications, support of GPU metrics in Q2, so that you more conveniently can track these metrics which are especially useful for usage of these GPUs. Then on the config service, a conformance package, resource aggregation for RFS, Terraform provider upgrade. And moving forward, that always we get an automated, let's say, way to update Terraform compatibility in our RFS service. So that's something which we work on. Then let's jump to the next CSSS. New versions, of course, we are supporting Zen Co-Search and even new versions. You see it across our big data services here, DWS, DLI, Model Arts. We are planning new versions, new releases, which comes with new capabilities. That's something which we are even doing across our portfolio, and that you will see moving forward. Now, I would like to come to one topic which is especially important even for me, so marketplace. So you have seen that right now I hope that you have seen that we have released a marketplace. And with marketplace, we try to get more and more services in place, which basically some come from you, some come from other partners, which can be then used by you and or other partners. So we really focus on that kind of activity to even increase our attractiveness in terms of what we can provide to you. And so we are working hard here in order to give you more kind of product types. Those of you which are aware, of course, you can already use, we call it CCE-based products using hand charts in order to deploy it in our environments. Right now, with the bring your own license model, we have already the LLM hub products, which comes from the T-Systems AI Foundation, so that you can use the LLMs. We are working, we have right now private offers, basically a functionality you put your product into the showroom and basically advertise it and get, for example, a customer interest, so that you can directly get in contact with a potential customers of you in order to then help and resolve basically their challenges which they might have. What we work on for February is SaaS products, is something which we work on, that we can bring in SaaS products deployed by ISVs, which usage-based licenses later on in Q2, even with contracted licenses. We call basically like you have a monthly fee for a specific package. That's what we call here internally contracts, licenses. Then image products. So we are working on that. We can provide images, licensed images to you. First, of course, on the one hand side, bring your own license. Others, of course, will be directly integrated with the usage of the license and will be charged with that one. That's something which we even work on for Q2. And moving forward, even what we will even do is we will even provide you the offer as a possibility to then purchase, for example, directly from our marketplace licenses coming from third-party providers. So if you, for example, need a specific license, you can directly get it from our marketplace. As you see, not yet committed, but we still have it in our plans, and roadmap is still planned. So and here, of course, we will even work on a functionality in Q4, which gives you free trial access, depending then on of course, the third-party provider. If you would like to use it, then of course you might be able to use some of the products even with in a trial period, and that's even something which we work on moving forward in Q4. So I hope that you can see that we put a lot of efforts right now into the development of our marketplace activity to accelerate giving you access to SaaS products, to basically licensed images, to other services which you might need and want into licenses. That's something which we work on heavily. And we've already onboarded a lot of very valuable partners here on our platform, and thanks to everyone, maybe some of them are already here inside it. So we have already a lot of offerings inside our marketplace, and moving forward, of course, we will onboard more and more. So that's something which you will see moving forward, that this is something which is really in our heart, to get even cross relationships between some of you and some of our customers, so that you can leverage this one. And even maybe you're searching for a solution, look into marketplace. There's a lot of good solutions in place, and you might need some of those. Then one item, and this is basically the last item which I would like to emphasize for today, is the sustainability dashboard. So we are working hard in order to give you much more access to sustainability data. So CO2 consumptions and energy consumptions. That's something which we work on, and which I think we have not really communicated this too loud in the last year, and not really published this, but I want to mention we can already say that we make it available in Q1. That's right now our plan. So what you see here is, of course, dummy data, and even it contains some dummy data, so don't take it too serious, the data which you see here. I just already took a screenshot from how it may look like. You see it's integrated into our enterprise dashboard, so our team worked hard. And all the teams, let's be honest, worked hard to get this in place, because all the calculations which need to be done to do this, get this into the dashboard, it's really hard work, and I'm really proud that we can release it to you approximately in Q1. Maybe we will start first with the beta phase, but basically it's integrated in our enterprise dashboard, and that's something which I look forward to get this out for you. Because we know that you need to even report this depending in which vertical you are. It depends that you need to even report your CO2 consumptions and make sustainability reports. And we know that you need this, and now you get this self-service functionality that you can do it on your own. And with this, we are already at the end of the session. So, and what I would like to mention and emphasize is Stefan is doing a great job running this community here. And I would like to mention that I myself, as well as a team, we are always available even at the community. So if you have any questions, if you have any requests, if you need functionality, feel free to use the community as well to bring this up, because we are reviewing this, we are even active inside. And even if, for example, I forget to answer a question, Stefan is always reminding me, hey, Daniel, there's a question, please answer that one, or we need to figure out who can answer to that one. That's even something. So we look into your feedback, and we highly appreciate every feedback. And even what you have seen here is basically a roadmap which is designed because we get feedback. So don't be shy. Always, even if you have questions, don't be shy. Use the community, ask questions. There's even a lot of people which can help you. And even my team is looking into that one. So we are always there as a community. And already mentioned by Frederick, of course, we have even partners and organizations which can help you for migration. So if you're here and you're looking into maybe joining OTC, getting into OTC, but you have basically not the capabilities, not the time, and the people are busy, we have people here which can help you, right? And that's something which Frederick mentioned here. Thanks a lot for the comments. So we can even help you. So you can even, if you need someone, you can even ask the people in OTC, write a comment in community. We can forward you. And I think even the CPS offering is available on the marketplace. So you can see if you need migration support, if you need to have support because your people are busy, we have the people which can help you.
Nothing to add to this speech. Thank you a lot, Daniel, for the session itself, also for the advertisement for the community portal, also from my end. Whenever you have anything which is on your heart, use the community portal, register, post a question, post a comment below our article where you have some open topics. So we are always there to help you. One more time, thank you a lot, Daniel, for being here, for hosting this session here, presenting a lot of nice stuff, what was already delivered in 2025, and making some announcements, some teasers, what is to come on 2026. So thank you a lot, and also thank you a lot to all of the ones who have joined our session today. So see you hopefully also in the next session. Wish you a nice rest of the day. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.